20 rich, spoiled brat wake-up calls. According to Reddit, number 20. When I was 30 and wanted a divorce, it didn't happen magically by writing a check to my lawyer. Well, how's that for a wake-up call? A response reads, "You should have just shouted divorce, divorce, and Bob's your uncle." You know what I mean? You ever seen that written? It's been a while. Yeah, Bob's your uncle. He wrote that. Somebody wrote Bob's your uncle. Read it.
Is that an old meme I don't know about?
Nah, it's just a thing that people say. You know, Bob's your uncle. But you ever seen it written, is my point. What the hell? Number 19?
Why did anyone say it? This sounds like an old person thing to say.
Bob, your uncle. Okay, number 19. I was spoiled rotten until my mid-20s. My parents gave me anything I wanted. When a new game generation came out, I would get every system in essentially every launch game. In high school, I drove nicer cars than all of my classmates' parents, and I had 3 different cars depending on how I felt. 2 of them were brand new sports cars, and the other was an older but very desirable sports car. I never paid for gas or insurance, never paid a phone bill, didn't pay for food, movies, snacks, anything. I was given almost limitless amounts of money to spend on whatever I wanted. My parents paid for my college tuition, and I later worked in the family business and was paid a very good wage for being simply who I was. I wasn't a slouch per se, but I had a false sense of security due to these things being handed to me for years. My perspective of life, try that again, Kyle. My perspective of life was that you are always on an upward trajectory to earn more. I swore that by 25 I would own a Lamborghini and a $500,000 house at least. Anything less than that would be abysmal failure. While living in the excess, I met a girl who grew up poor. She didn't live in poverty, but she had to work since a very young age and had to help pay the family's bills. Basically, she lived a life that I deathly feared. Her financial situation stabilized by the time we started dating, but her life experience gave her a pretty solid background. I initially approached our relationship from a position of wanting to give her the finer things in life. I spent thousands of my parents' money on her to take her on trips and buy her jewelry. She was never comfortable with it, and frequently said that she was fine with a cheap dinner and a movie. She and I got married and were expecting a child soon after. My great awakening came when the family business fell to pieces. Suddenly, the endless supply of money stopped. It was so bad that I couldn't even receive a salary and had to look for a job. I had a college degree, but really no discernible skills. Finding a job wasn't the easiest thing in the world for me to do. I eventually found a very entry-level job in a completely different field. The salary was incredibly low by any measure. For the first time, I had to pay for gas, insurance, phone, food, etc. The high-performance car I drove took premium fuel and got abysmal gas mileage. Abysmal. It's the second time we've seen that word. I sold it and bought the cheapest car I could find that was safe and new enough to keep my family on the road. I never drove anything so cheap in my life. Was never paid so little. Man, our heart's really breaking for this guy, you know what I mean, Stripes? And I had to pay for bills for the first time in my life. I had to perform at work because I was almost literally living paycheck to paycheck. Oh yeah, I racked up tons of credit card debt, being irresponsible and knowing I could easily pay it until I couldn't. My one constant. Jesus, that's what I get for like sideways looking at the damn screen. My one constant, my wife was unflappable. I should make a game called Unflappable. It's like a sequel to Flappy Bird. What? Unflappable. Unflappable. She had been in far worse situations before. She was pregnant, yet calm and cool and collected despite the sudden life change. She didn't stress and essentially pulled up her sleeves and devised a budget for the household to see us through our new reality. It was... Sorry, a sneeze had been playing with coming out. It was clear why we were put together. I thought I was the man. Look who ended up taking care of who. This experience taught me that money literally doesn't matter. Not only does it not matter, but it can disappear in an instant. I became closer with my wife, new son, and my faith after this experience. I wouldn't change it for the world.
His fate?
Boo fucking who, dude? You know what I mean? You were born with a monkey spoon in your mouth and you out here on that ooh ooh ah ah because shit falls to bananas. I don't care. Number 18, I grew up living in a huge hotel, kind of like your Sweet Life of Zack and Cody thing, except that I was a spoiled young kid. When I was 7, I'd have a nanny put on my socks. Can every first 2 or 3 paragraphs not be some bullshit that like makes us hate you? Wear my school uniform every day. I had our nannies before that and they all left. I made one cry once because I was yelled at for not helping with my math homework. Oh, I yelled at her for not helping with my math homework. I slapped another one. She left 3 months later. It hit me hard a year or 2 later when my dad had to travel overseas to work, so I was stuck with one particular nanny named Tina. My dad didn't really send a lot of money back to us, so we had to live in a cramped apartment since we needed to move out of that particular hotel. I hated my nanny at the beginning because she was just so damn strict. Turns out that she was doing this because she wanted us to change, and we did. Because my dad didn't send enough money and didn't want to, he was a stingy guy, we had to ration our food on some days, and I couldn't go to many school activities because we didn't have a car like we used to, and we didn't have enough money. This was hard on my brother, and because we went to a private international school, so it was really hard not to trying to show others our personal struggle. Okay. It was even harder on me as I was a prefect at school. And so not attending school activities and extracurricular stuff was the worst. Ugh. During the period, I learned so much and began to empathize properly. I learned to socialize with my neighbors, be independent, and this made me enjoy my childhood living in the apartment more than I ever did in living in a hotel. I owe it all to my nanny, to be honest. I owe it all to my nanny. I consider her my surrogate mom now, regardless of the rough beginning, and I, honest to God, would have not changed one single bit if it wasn't for her. Somebody said, have you ever told her that? If not, you should. And then he's all like, sadly, she died. I'm kidding. Yeah, I told her that before she left us for good 3 years ago. I broke down and expressed how much I appreciated her help because her leaving felt like a parent walking out of my life, which ironically was what my mom did, though I never really felt anything for her in the first place. But that's another story.
Where's his Ask Me Anything?
Unbelievable. Number 17. Military boot camp. I wanted to eat an orange. Didn't know how to peel one. Slyly waited for someone else to start peeling before emulating him. End up with a badly squashed, untidily peeled orange ball that tasted like sour reality. Interesting. Spoiled kid goes into the military. Probably getting back at daddy. I'll join the military, Papa. You won't, you little shit. Yes, I will. Watch me.
Sent there because he was a brat.
You can't even peel an orange. I don't care, Papa. I'll show you. Ha ha. Number 16. I grew up thinking we had money. Turns out we didn't. That sounds like great parents. My parents just spoiled me every time I threw a fit. When I was 16, I chose to do a bio assignment on my mom because I realized I knew little of her youth. When my Mexican mother told me her birthday gift was every 3 years she'd get new slippers since she tore through her one pair from growing, and that her annual gift was fabric to make her own dress. I had recently begged for a homecoming gown that was about $250, so that made me feel instantly shitty. And that she didn't see a movie until she was 17 years old, which hurt me the most because... Oh God, sorry.
You gonna sneeze?
Finally came out at the very least.
Why don't you just leave it in the recording? It makes you seem a little more human.
Human. Yes. I hope my cover is not blown. And that she didn't see a movie until she was 17 years old, which hurt me the most since cinema had shaped my life up until this point. The thought of being deprived such a lovely escapism was hard to hear. She also never had an education and didn't read until her late 30s. Learning about how my mother grew up was life-changing to me. We weren't rich, but I was so spoiled rotten. I'm not sure it was because my parents knew what it was like to have nothing. She grew up in rural farm without electricity, and she moved to America for the first time at 23. She asked her soon-to-be husband what the white machine in the kitchen was, and he said a dishwasher, to which she replied, I knew white women were lazy. That's funny. This inspired me to never ask for money or beg again. That month, I saved 3 months of wage to buy my first real camera at 16. I now make way more than I thought possible with my camera, and I don't think without her struggles and hearing her struggles, I would ever get close. How's she making money with her camera for real, though?
She's a photographer.
Yeah, but who's she selling this shit to?
Oh, wait, this was a plug for her business?
Yeah, says she does weddings.
Oh my god.
To be honest, that's a bit, I don't want to call it cheap, but it's a bit rude. You know what I mean? It's like making money off of dead people as well. You know, you're taking pictures at their wedding. People are stupid as hell, especially people getting married. Oh my god.
Haven't you taken pictures for weddings before?
So, I'm not saying that it's something to be proud of. You look, here's the thing. I can't get a lot of work because of the conviction, naturally. You know, they'll never hire a Kyle. But a lot of jobs I wouldn't consider myself all about doing anyway, because you're essentially selling someone a car. And I say that to say every job is dishonest. You're working at GameStop, you got to be lying to people. You know what I mean? Pretty much every job that you're going to work at, you got to be lying through your teeth to some asshole. And I'm not saying that I'm super above that or that I can't do it to make a paycheck or something, but it's just like so sad that so many professions you have to inherently be dishonest, whether it be in what you're charging a person or what you're telling them as it contrasts the truth, or in some cases what you're not telling them. You know what I mean? You go work at Apple, there's no reason that you should be telling anybody to buy half of the shit in the store, because you can get so much better for so much less. You're paying for a logo, and some people are down for that kind of brand shit, but like, it would be like going to the grocery store and buying, I don't know, man, like not even something that's going to benefit you like health wise, not like an organic thing that would be better for you, but there's literally, you're staring at the shelf stripes and there's two different brands of lemonade. Both of them are the same size. One is $50. You know what I mean?
$50 lemonade?
One is $50, and you're like, nigga, why is this is there a prize in this lemonade? Am I gonna open up this lemonade and there's gonna be $48 cash inside this lemonade? Because why is it $50? And that's the bottom line. So many jobs ask you to do that. So many jobs have you peddle that kind of shit to an unsuspecting, borderline retarded, like ignorant person. And it's not their fault, because a lot of them don't know what the hell's up. But you know, hey, it's just weird. It's just weird. And I'm not here to dupe, you know, middle-aged women into losing their money out of pocket because of a stupid decision that they're making right now. No, I'm not shitting on this woman and taking wedding pictures. To be honest, as far as I'm concerned, it's just gonna happen. You know what I mean? Weddings are gonna happen. You know, if it's not me taking the pictures, it's gonna be somebody else. So what does it matter? You know what I mean? But I mean, as it pertains to a lot of typical jobs, fuck me. Number 15 has been deleted, so all we can do is try to figure out through context clues what's going on. You're doing him a service. This is one of my fears. My kid ends up with a better life than me and still complains. Okay. All we can do is assume that based on context clues, this was a story of maybe a parent cutting off a child who had things way better than the parent, but was still a little shit about it. Because somebody's saying you're doing him a service, and then somebody actually quotes the thing saying, I remember one week where I went without solid food. I guess you can be our daily reminder that this shit still happens in a first world country. Yeah, people go without solid food, homie. Hold on. Sorry. And that's another thing that you have to take into account. I feel like this one with the girl and her mom, who, you know, didn't know a dishwasher, had to make her own dress, went without movies and shit like that. I feel like it's a very solid reminder of what things are like overseas, because you got to go back a hell of a lot of years in this country for people to experience that kind of shit. But hilariously, the internet is our lifetime. Do you understand? You know what I mean? So go back one lifetime. Go talk to your grandparents. They don't know what's popping with this internet shit. You know what I'm talking about? And in that way, you can regard our lives as being better, or us having, you know, more convenience than they did, in a big way, especially as it pertains to access to practical knowledge that we can then apply into wisdom. Because we can go to school for like 5 fucking years, you know, and learn some shit that's really not going to be applicable in everyday scenarios, unless your career is like a big part of your life, like say you're a handyman or some shit like this, you know what I mean? And like your whole family can call on you for that kind of crap. But you and I could literally go to school in IT and only a couple of times just be harassed by the family because they did something stupid and broke their fucking computer. So now, because they don't know how to Google, it's their fucking, it's our obligation to help them. But the bottom line is, because we have access to Google and we actually have a brain that works, because, you know, we can plug these things in and figure out how to solve a problem that before that moment we had no idea how to solve. You know, that type of shit would have perhaps taken them a hell of a lot longer if they had to go out to a library and read a couple books, or maybe pop in a VHS tape, when, you know, shit's a lot crazier for us right now. And in that way, yeah, I guess we should always be humble and appreciative, but not so much that it's like to a detriment, you know, because we can't just, like, I always like the phrase, you know, oh, there are people starving in Africa, you know what I mean? Which is almost to like chastise somebody for being hungry. Yeah, man, I mean, there's people starving in Africa, but I'm still hungry, you know what I'm saying? And you telling somebody, you know, you can't just not be hungry because other people are hungry, is like telling somebody not to be happy because other people are happier. You know what I mean? So that's great. I think as that pertains to what I'm saying here, you know, we can't let that kind of shit get us down or make us feel like we need to always be humble to the point where we never have anything bad to say, specifically because as we have children, as time goes on, they're going to have it even easier. You know, they're going to come out with something called the Dingley Spoop. You know what I mean? That's going to be way better than the internet. Consider it the internet too, okay? The Dingley Spoop.
I want to see just an egg-shaped vehicle that gives you everything you need just by asking for it.
You want that to be called the Dingley Spoop, and it's an egg-shaped car?
Yes. Well, not really a car. It's mobile, but it's mostly just like a station.
The funniest thing about Stripes is that, like, it doesn't matter how crazy I think I want to be some days. Stripes has got me made, son. She is so much crazier. She's like,
all right, well, if we're talking about ideas, it's time to get this egg car that does everything out there.
It does everything, Stripes, but why does it need to be in the shape of an egg?
Because, like, it's slick.
Because that's the beginning of everything to you? Well, what if the chicken came first?
It's like returning to the womb.
Number 14, man. My parents went bankrupt twice. We went from private school to having cars, to the house being repossessed. Yay, that sucks.
You know, I was looking forward to hearing someone talk about the pony they couldn't keep. But I don't think it's gonna happen.
Somebody says, I was still in the same boat. We should upgrade it to a yacht. Ha 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 ha. Well, let me see. Number 13. My roommate in college was a former Marine. He was basically like 1 year old. I'm not cleaning up his shit for you. 2. Oh, no. He was basically like, number 1, I am not cleaning up this shit for you. Number 2, this shit will be cleaned up. So it's going to be by you. Somebody else said, buy him a pack of crayons as a snack to keep him distracted. Buy him a pack of crayons as a snack? What happened?
I think the egg machine would only move as fast as a Segway. Yeah. I can see that.
Number 12, I realize that some people really struggle with money. I thought people didn't buy things they need, cars, appliances, clothes, a nice house, because they were really frugal and saving up. It's not even that I didn't know about poverty, but I just thought it was a third world thing and that everyone in the US was pretty comfortable. This didn't sink in until college. I'm terrified for after college. Somebody said this. In my house, we can't afford a new car meant we don't have the extra money to splurge on a new car and we don't really need one right now. We literally do have the means to afford the car, even if we really had to buy one. Not being able to afford something meant saving up for a few months and eating in and buying stuff on sale. Not picking up 2 extra jobs and taking out loans to be able to afford things. It's just funny the amount of ignorance that I guess some of these rich people have. And they just grow up and they just go, "Mommy, I would like all of it." And then they go,
"Okay, my son. Okay. Thank you, Mommy. But not a lot of thanks, you dumb slut."
Number 11? What?
Kyle, what would you do if you owned acres of land? Like, enough land for a ranch, per se.
Yeah, I did. You said it. I would make that land make money for me. I would make the earth make money for me, and then I get fucked over by the government, who's trying to put all kind of bullshit in my chemicals and my shit. You know what I'm talking about? And then I'd fucking dig some of that ground underground. You're hearing it first. You're hearing it first. CIA and NSA. I would dig underneath that ground, build me a bunker, probably grow some weed, and probably make a shelter that could survive some kind of nuclear holocaust. You know, fallout bunker. And then I wouldn't kidnap any women, but I would try to like brainwash like a hottie, maybe like a Hannah, you know what I'm saying? And I'd just get down in the bunker, and then who knows, you know? Gotta sterilize her too. We don't need any kids running around, you know?
Okay, but if you're gonna make a fallout bunker, I thought the point would be to procreate.
Fuck that. Fuck kids. Stupid kids. Growing up ignorant, thinking people rich. Okay? Can you imagine a kid that's grown up underground? You know that they exist. Wouldn't you like to talk to a kid that's been grown underground and doesn't know anything of an outside world? You think like stepping out into sunlight would fuck that kid up?
No.
And like fry his monkeys? How would you explain that to a child that had never been out there? Look, we're going to go out somewhere. Out? Yes. I'm going to open this door, and it's going to be like a chamber in which you've never experienced before. There will be a bright light skywards. Sky? Just listen. Above you, there's going to be this light thing. Do not look at it. And you know it's going to make that kid crazy. He's going to be like, I got to look at this thing. They're telling me not to look at it. I got to look at it. Something's going on up there. I bet you there's some kind of egg car thing out there. Number 11. I wasn't necessarily spoiled.
What if it's on rails? Like there are predetermined paths where they can just roll around.
You're talking about the egg.
Yes.
I wasn't necessarily spoiled, says number 11, but I definitely grew up in a very privileged family, upper middle class, academic dad and lawyer mom. I was 17 and I got a job as a porter in a hotel to save and travel for a bit before going to my university. My dad lived in Singapore, so I figured Southeast Asia. I went to Indonesia, Yogyakarta, to see Borobudur. And I was staying in a decent but not crazy fancy hotel near a temple. It was my first night and I had no idea if tipping was normal thing and didn't have any rupiah on me, so I put a US $5 bill under my plate and I left. Working in a hotel, you get foreign currency tips. The note was worth more as a novelty, to be honest. As the waitress cleared the plates and I was walking away, she freaked out, thinking I had left it there. She didn't speak a lot of English, but I got it across that it was a tip, and she basically broke down. It was fuck all money, so I was really confused. Made the mistake of Googling median wages of the area when I got back. Median, not even minimum, salary is about $3,000 a year. Wow. What I made in about 2 hours at a minimum wage job, she made in a week, busting her ass for 80 hours. I tipped well all through my trip. Even bought the crappy knickknacks from the hawkers by the temple. It was fucking gut-wrenching. That sucks. Well, at least his eyes were open, you know? You living a life. Something's happening to my face. It's all these stupid comments you're making.
Is it burning?
I don't know. It's just trying to change. It's trying to evolve.
Why? What do I have to do with it?
What does Stripes have to do? What Stripes got to do? Number 10. Not sure if this is a serious question, but here's a serious answer. When I moved out of my hometown for college, it was an absolute culture shock. I met other students who couldn't go to their dream schools because of how much it cost, and they had to go in-state. They didn't eat out every day. They bought secondhand clothes. Some of them never traveled out of the country. Some never even out of state. Some were driving their parents' first cars. That shit blew my mind. This is how the rest of the 99% of the country lives. I come from a filthy rich background, but I work hard to hide it so that you can't tell. I dress normally. I don't really talk about my background. I try to buy stuff on sale. Sometimes it shows in ways that I can't help. I'd never seen shitty cars before going to college. I don't know how to drive cars with poor handling, and I always forget to turn off the headlights because I've never driven a car without automatic lights. I don't know how much anything costs because it doesn't matter. I'll still buy it anyway. I also don't really value money. $100 isn't a really big deal for me, but I know it means a lot to others, so I don't mind giving it to friends who are in need. But if you don't look too closely at my habits, you can't tell. And that was a conscious decision that I've made. I'm grateful for never having to worry about money and likely never will. But I don't want to go back to my hometown because I think this lifestyle is unhealthy. There's so much entitlement, and the worst part of how rich people think that money defines your worth. I've seen them look at people with less money with such disdain, like their value as a person is less since they don't have as much money. It's disgusting, and I don't want to be associated with that kind of person. I also loathe the comments that come with it, like, if I were rich like you, and I put to end to those immediately if they come up. I don't like being treated differently because of how much money I have, and I won't treat you differently for how much money you have. We're both good people, and we are both worth something. Sorry, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze again.
Man, I don't think this post belongs on this thread, honestly.
Well, it does. I mean, he got a wake-up call when he went to college. You know? Wake-up call can be a pretty vague and blanketed statement. He could just fit under the umbrella of having a change in his perspective. Doesn't need to be some kind of smackdown as far as he's going to change. Yeah, he's really just, you know, doing what the rest of us do, which is putting on a suit and hiding and lying, you know, but he was incorporated into a situation that to him was alien, and now he sees what's up. What sucks about this whole money thing is that society at the moment is again defined by or basically prioritizing people who socially are making whatever amount, you know, what do you do is like the main question that most people will immediately ask somebody if they're making small talk. And what do you do inherently isn't a bad question. Like how you get down is very, you know, in many cases it kind of like gives people an idea of what you're about or what you like to do. But, you know, when they ask that question, what they're typically trying to get at, like the underlying question there is, how much do you make? Do you know what I mean? And we, unfortunately, as part of the cogs in the machine of this society, define success by how much people are chiseling out of a boy.
Oh my god, are you okay? Kyle?
That was a big sneeze. That was a big thing.
Okay, what it sounded to me is like something attacked you and you had the sense to mute it so you could just kill it silently.
No, that was a huge sneeze. To where I thought like a bit of snot came out and I was like panically like touching my face to see if anything was on it, but there wasn't. Oh my god. Anyway, like what I'm saying is, again, in society, what success is defined by how much you make financially. And then the comedy with that is some people make, crazy amount of money doing honestly nefarious type shit. Like what I'm telling you about before, like just dishonest crap. Some of the best ways to make money are illegally. You already know. Not just stealing people's insurance, but, maybe selling some drugs, you know what I mean? Maybe getting into people's shit and taking away what they won't miss type stuff. You know what I'm saying? And in many cases, you can use your wit to, I want to say, get around so much of what would waste your time as far as life is concerned. And I'm not saying I condone it. I'm just saying, like, damn, when they have made this the finish line, it doesn't really matter what we're talking about, because there are going to be plenty of different ways to reach one place. And if the finish line is having a lot of money, a lot of people are going to find some crazy ass shortcuts, and a lot of those shortcuts won't necessarily be what's another old people term, because they were saying Bob's your uncle earlier. Here's a great one. It won't necessarily be on the up and up. Okay?
That's not old people.
Yeah, it is.
That's car salesman talk.
What?
What?
How is being on the up and up car salesman talk?
I'm just saying that's what a slimy 30-year-old says. So it's not exactly old people talk.
Who's the idiot? The guy talking bullshit, or the guy trying to make sense with the guy talking the bullshit, Who's the idiot, Stripes? The chicken or the egg? Number nine. Yoko Ono's a terrible person. At number 9, at 20, when I started dating my now husband, he was raised by a single mom who worked 3 jobs and still barely got by, while my mom was SAHM and my dad is successful in his line of work. Husband and I went to high school together. At the beginning of every school year, my parents would easily drop $15,000 on me and my sister for school clothes, and my husband would go with our high school secretary to get clothes that were paid for by the school district. I didn't even know that was a thing.
I think Sam means stay-at-home mom.
I'm glad they get their own acronym now, Stripes. $15,000 on clothes for school, dude. You know what I mean? You're not like going somewhere to make an impression, dude. You're going to fucking school. $15,000.
I only needed four uniforms to go to school, and just wash them every week. Why would you need more than 4?
Yes, he makes decent money now, and yes, he's handsome as fuck. Sometimes I just stare him down and I'm just like, how? Also, my parents are wealthy. I am not. We live modestly and have very little wiggle room every month, but I truly, honestly don't give a shit because we are really fucking happy. Be jealous of this slut. $15,000 for clothes. Everything I own combined is barely worth that. To be honest, the most expensive things I have are electronic. And they're not the types of things that people would even be able to steal because they're so close to me at all times. If not on me or a part of me, you know what I mean? Don't think too hard about that one, boys. Number 8, I grew up with my mother doing everything for me. I was never taught many things because she would do everything. She's an amazing mother, don't get me wrong, but I wish I was taught more. When I have a job now where I can take care of my mental Whoa. Well, I have a job now where I take care of mentally disabled adults. You basically have to do everything. You have to do all the cooking, all of the cleaning, all of the laundry, and you have to shower clients and change their clothes and diapers. Some of them can change themselves. I'd say that this job is helping me a lot. It's giving me more experience in the real world and great opportunity to help my patients and spend time with them. It's a very great job for a very kind and giving individual, and I'm glad that they have the patience and compassion to help another person when they need that help, regardless of, their age or what situation they're in. Some people need help, babe. Okay. What are you doing?
Nothing. It's just.
Are you drawing?
I'm not.
Are you drawing?
I'm not. I'm just uncomfortable.
Oh. Why?
Talking about mentally disabled adults makes me uncomfortable.
Why?
It's like old people and babies all over again.
What do you mean it's like old people and babies? You know, it's like a sunrise, sunset type deal that, you know, you start off in diapers, you end up in diapers. Dementia is a very typical thing. You know, when you get older, you just start glitching out. You start encountering bugs in your programming, and you can genuinely consider it just like a sunset where like a light is slowly going out. Some people would rather just die like wham and have that be it. You get what I'm saying? Because you fade away sometimes. But that has nothing to do with mental disabled. I'm disabled. Number 7. When I was 16, my parents left for a week vacation and gave me money for the week. Since I didn't know how to do laundry, never seen it done before, I took all my clothes to the dry cleaner, even my panties. The cleaner asked 3 times if I was sure I wanted them dry cleaned. I said yes. 2 days later, I got 8 pair of panties safety pinned to individual hangers. My laundry cost about $90 that week. I just assumed this was normal. Somebody said, we get a lot of guests at my hotel who do this. We have one guest who routinely had $200 worth of dry cleaning. It's almost cheaper to just buy new socks and underwear. Somebody said it probably cost them nothing. Yeah, I mean, when you rich, you're rich, nigga, you know what I mean? That shit is not something that they feel. Number 6, I grew up in a Midwestern town, middle-class neighborhood, private school. I never needed anything, but my dad grew up poor and my parents wouldn't give any of my big wants. Super Nintendo. Okay. My neighbor and best friend got everything he asked for. I loved hanging out at his house because he had the best TV, the best food, the newest games, 100 pairs of shoes, and thousands of hats, the majority of which were fedoras.
Why do you need so many hats?
He's a man who wears many hats, Stripes. Yeah, you like that? After we moved away, I found out his parents gave him anything he wanted because they were in a loveless marriage. Jackpot. You see what I'm talking about? Constantly fought around him. They were buying love when my parents were showing me love. I always wondered why he would prefer to stay at my house with a crappy TV and an outdated Nintendo with no games. Turns out he wanted to stay at our house because my parents didn't fight and would actually listen to him. My parents became surrogate parents for him, and to this day he calls them Mom and Dad. I'm happy to call him brother. If it weren't for him, I would never have known how I won the parental lottery. Congratulations. I guess being rich wasn't enough. Now you gotta have a household with both parents that are both happy. Some people don't even have both parents, you know what I mean? And when they do, they definitely don't have both of them happy because most of the time the women are assholes and just unfucking bearable, and the guy's just like, nope, you know what I mean? So imagine this guy. He's got it all.
But I didn't get Nintendo? You're telling me I'm going next door. This guy's got the hats. I'm going to the hat guy.
This just sounds like a horror movie to me, where the kid
slowly goes into his house and he's just like, come on into my room. Do you like my games? This is a nice TV, huh? You want some snacks? Check out my shoes. And let me show you my hat collection. Bling, bling. And then you see, like, you hear like the strings and the violins. Come on. A response to this reads, we had a neighbor like that when I was a kid. My family was dirt poor for a long time. Dad didn't make a lot of money, and Mom was Catholic and very fertile. Lol. Ew. This kid that lived next door and had every toy and game on the market, but every summer morning he was at our door asking if the boys could come out and play. He also went through a phase where he became very jealous of any time he could spend with our dad and would almost aggressively try to hoard the seconds. Apparently his own dad was more interested in his new girlfriend and would just write a check every time this kid was supposed to live with him. Well, that's what's up. The boy's mom wanted to date around and party, and he ended up living with his grandparents, our neighbors. My dad is a great guy and would include the kid in various family activities. He turned out to be a pretty good adult, and I know my dad is partly responsible. Somebody else said, "Your dad sounds pretty great," to which Kyle responds, "I want to meet that dad." What's your dad like? Sorry.
Are you asking me?
No, it's a reference. You're gonna make me choke.
Reference to what?
Tim and Eric.
Oh. I think I saw that one, but I don't remember it that well. Oh, wait. Is it one of those weird songs?
Just keeps going, huh? Is it one of those where you're like a grandma? Oh, wait a minute. I think I've seen that one. Is that the one with the hat? Something about eggs. Why am I thinking about eggs? Number.
Eggs, Kyle. Do you know?
It's funny that you really do hate eggs, so why were they coming up? Oh, I know why they're coming up. You know why?
Why?
Because one thing's related to testosterone, but the other thing, Stripes. The other thing.
You better shut your fucking mouth.
Number 5. I was raised by my great-grandmother, and she was well-to-do, active well into her 80s, and her world revolved around ballet, gymnastics, and all the music. A strand of mustache hair, like not mustache. You know, like
Eyelash.
No, like my beard. One of my beard hairs was going into my mouth, so I was trying to whip it out. But then I was also talking while I was doing it. It really wasn't working out. Number 5. I was raised by my great-grandmother, and she was well-to-do, active well into her 80s, and her world revolved around me. Ballet, gymnastics, all the music classes I could fit into my schedule. I had a menagerie of pets. Christmases were obscene. She catered to my every whim as a child. Now that I'm an adult and my wonderful Gram has passed, I've learned that what I had was really unique. The world does not wait on me. I'm not special to everyone. I struggle with entitlement and narcissistic tendencies. It's isolating at times, and I miss her. It's funny because some of these people have lives that are social that, God forbid, they just take a day and sit their fucking ass in the fucking house for a day and not worry about some of the people that they harass/get harassed by for 24 hours, man. I could not live a life where like people are calling my name every couple of fucking. I hate it. I hate people too. You listening to this, people? I'm kidding. I love you guys. Oh God. But hopefully I know that my people listening to this right now know definitely where I'm coming from, and they hate people too, because goddamn, usually these people you're only hearing from when they need something. Usually these people you're only hearing from when they need something, Stripes.
Are you directing this at me? Because
Not at all.
I feel like I'm pretty gracious about.
No, God, it's not always about you. God, she's so female. Response: the easiest way to get lots of positive attention is to be outwardly humble, kind, and gracious with people. You have to minimize your ego. Same destination, different paths. Okay, yeah. This sounds like a great guide on how to be taken for granted, used by people. Like they're gonna take advantage of you in a hardcore way, because you give a little, people take a lot, and if you don't mark your stance or area in the sand and stand that ground really, really, really fine, people will try to use you as a stepping stone. Because I mean, look, it's saps like you that let people get forward. You know what I'm talking about? Not you, Stripes, but I'm just saying people who are a little too giving to the wrong people. The ability to discern is very important, and people really need to figure out how who they need to be a specific way with, because not everybody is worthy of that treatment. And another thing that people need to understand as well sometimes is, like, a lot of times people give people a free pass because they've been with them for too long, or even like a family member, you know what I mean? Because we're blood or whatever. But being a family member isn't an excuse to give people a free pass for being an asshole, you know what I mean? Somebody could literally just do some shit to you. Like, how bad does it need to get? Do they need to pull a gun on you? Do they need to use a weapon on you and draw blood before you're just like, hey, I'm related to this person, but this person's an asshole? You know what I mean? How many times do they need to be wrong where you have to just like roll with that shit and just like, oh, you're wrong, but you know, I'm just going to deal with it. Like, nah, nigga, you wrong. And you need to know you're wrong. You know what I mean? I want them one day to just wake up in bed that they're going to die in with nobody else around and then realize, I'm the asshole. And there's nothing you can do about it at this point. You know what I mean? You have plenty of chances. So I'd like to segue that into the most happening hashtag on Twitter right now. If you guys don't know, if y'all do not know what's really popping off on Twitter right now, let me bring this window up in a better way so y'all can see it. The Fursona meme is a hashtag on Twitter right now. Some genius has tricked these furry kids into revealing themselves, you know what I mean, next to their fursona. Look at this guy with the camera, and his guys got the camera too. The lions behind the camera, okay, Stripes? The lions behind the camera. I bet when he's got that camera out, he must feel like some sort of lion on the prowl, staking out his... Okay, what is this? With the picture of Nutella. Okay, man, look, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want it to seem like I'm shaming these people. They have their interests. They have their hobby. I'm just saying their whole thing is like, what?
That's mine. I drew that.
You drew this?
Yeah.
What the fuck? You're the alpha to my pack. You know this person then.
Well, yeah, she's commissioned me a few times.
I can't believe you, Stripes. I literally just opened up. This is just like a random hashtag that I opened up when the video. This is what I associate with like the quintessential furry dude. This is what I expect the normal looking furry guy to look like. Man, is it not loading? Okay, there it is. And then he's got like his furry dude or whatever. But holy hell, man, this is the most happening. Oh well, bing bong. Well, there you go. That's the guy in the suit at your convention. He's got a frisbee in his mouth. Oh, look at that stance. Look at me. You know, I mean, stuff. Look, I don't know where to go with this, but I am so entertained looking at what these people actually look like. Okay. Ugh. Oh man, look at that. This guy's got a head like a fucking orange, man. Like, dude, I never thought I'd see a Pilkington-like face. But someone needs to get this picture to Ricky J. That's not funny. Kyle, look. Why? Oh, God. Oh, boy. This guy's got a tie. You know he gets down. Okay. I bet when he's, like, out on the town, he's like, little do they know my secret identity. And he gets home. He puts the suit on, Stripes. Guy gets, oh God, does he have his knees buckled in? No, it's just like a way he's sitting. Ugh. Okay. God, this is some scary stuff. In my opinion.
Oh God.
What the hell? Like I said, Stripes, it's one thing when you have like this thing that you want to associate yourself with, you know? You go and you watch a movie and you think, man, what would it be like if I was like a bunny rabbit, you know? What would it be like if I was like a fox? So you ask somebody to draw like a fox version of you. You come up with a little concept or whatever. That's one thing, you know? That's one thing. But when you're buying a suit, dude, and these are like a couple $1,000 investments, right? Oh, God.
Is that a man?
What, the pink one?
Yeah.
You think, what are you asking me a question like you don't know? You think there are fugly ass women walking around looking like this?
Yes.
You're not wrong. But it's not a... Number 4. Getting told you're a very rude person by an instructor at a music summer camp after 11th grade. It was a huge reality check for me and really changed how I interacted with people. You call that context, asshole? Why were you called rude? He goes on to say this was almost 3 years ago at a camp that took place at a university in Indianapolis. The instructor in question was British, which was probably why she was so upfront about it, if I remember correctly. The particular thing that she was saying, the particular thing she was saying this to wasn't very major. Get it? Because there's majors in music. I'm done. You giggled. I hadn't been feeling very well that morning, but I was better by the time of my lesson that afternoon. And when she asked me how I was feeling during the lesson, I brushed it off with, "Oh yeah, I'm fine," pretty curtly, without even thanking her for asking me. What? Okay. Man, these aren't as juicy as you want them to be, huh, Stripes?
Nope.
Well, look, the top 3 are gonna hit you. They're gonna hit you. Prepare yourself.
I want to feel something, Kyle.
Number 3, grew up in a fancy home. More rooms than you could ever need on a large property in a pretty rural area. I got everything I wanted, whenever I wanted. Huge plasma TV, DSLR camera, motorbike, pony, etc. And then my dad said, "You didn't earn any of this," and he shot my pony and chopped off my dick. Is that what you're looking for, Stripes?
Exactly.
Okay, look, that's not what happened. It continues to say, "I never knew what my parents really did for a living." Cool. I remember kids always asking what my parents did as a job in the playground, and I never really knew how to respond.
My God. I want to believe they were drug lords, and he was benefiting. Oh my God, he is!
I soon figured out that my parents did when my dad was arrested for drug trafficking, and the house, cars, and everything else was repossessed by the government as profits of crime. They should have had a front. They should have had a front operation, dude, because naturally people gonna ask questions, dude. So you need to buy like some kind of bullshit shop where you're selling suits or something like this, something that people will come in there and pay obnoxious amounts for. You're selling antiques, maybe you got some kind of like eBay shop, you know. Oh boy, dude. And the cops busted their ass. I now live in a shitty house that barely stands in a dodgy area of town. It definitely was a shock to the system, but I'm adjusting fine, I guess. This is what you wanted, huh?
Exactly.
Well, told you the top 3 wouldn't be bad.
He couldn't keep butterscotch.
What'd you just say?
He couldn't keep butterscotch.
I love that you've named the pony Butterscotch.
Everyone names their pony butterscotch.
We'll see about that. Butterscotch. The pony. Wow. Google completed that for me. For real friends, Butterscotch the pony. That's a toy. Like if I could watch videos on these lists without getting, what the hell is this? Damn, it's pretty big if we got toddlers on that shit. That's a big ass pony.
It's gotta be a big pony.
I guess it's gotta be big enough for them to be able to ride it. Jump on it, get to it, mount
teeth.
a dildo.
Ew.
Where? Right there.
Oh no.
Looks like the tongue's actually got a little bit of texture as well. That's pretty interesting.
I hate it. I liked it until I knew it had teeth.
Well, how do you think the furries that buy these things are gonna have fun putting things that don't belong in there if it doesn't have teeth? And with that, we segue right back into this horse shit. Let's scroll down a little bit further. So I know somebody's rolling their eyes so hard looking at this shit, but look, it's too good to be real. It's too good to be real.
Oh.
What? Like, who tricked you? Who tricked these people into revealing that she's cute?
Is she?
We'll see. Yeah.
She's alright.
She's normal.
Okay.
I'm not saying anybody else is abnormal. I'm just saying, oh Lord. You know what I mean? What the F? This guy's in a recording studio. What are you doing? He should have his ear to the internet so hard that he should have stabilized. I don't want to say that all furries are not stable, you know? But unless they're self-aware to the point where they even have so much fun with how ridiculous being a furry is, what the hell is this?
A dog?
Oh my god. I know that this is, oh my god. I know that this isn't going to be as captivating to other. Wait a minute.
She's okay.
Wait a minute. Whatever. Whatever. Oh, look at the baby.
Oh, is that a snake?
Yeah, there's a snake somewhere. Oh my god, is this guy in the army? And he's a fur man?
Yes.
Oh my bing bong. Well, all I can do is thank him for his service. I thank you for your service. Ew, he's Kai the husky. What the fuck?
His eyes?
He's gonna get you. That's wrong with him.
No.
He's dead inside. He was brought back as part of an experiment. I'm gonna get. That's enough. Number 2. I grew up in Indonesia, Mexico, Sicily, Tijuana, India, Osaka, Indonesia. Number 3.
I just realized
What?
you can't post this.
Why?
If it comes out, I said this about furries, I'm gonna be blacklisted. I'll
Nobody-
never make money again.
Nobody knows who you are. Number 2. I grew up in Indonesia, a third world country where you definitely have maids if you're posting on Reddit. Oh, wow. If you're posting on Reddit, you'd probably have maids. So I should go to Indonesia and get a house and then get a maid and give them like $1 a day.
I don't like that.
You better clean my bum for $1 a day. Clean my bum. My bum. Trying to steal from me, my bum.
Of course they're gonna steal from you.
But they're maids. That you want to keep your job, you don't steal from Kyle, man. Okay? Show up with your boyfriend, Ricky Tan, Indonesia man. Shut up. A third world country where you definitely have maids if you're posting on Reddit. I grew up thinking it's common to have multiple maids. Moved to Singapore, a first world country where people still have maids, but it's more of an upper middle class and above thing. I got assigned to sweep floors by the teacher, and that was my first time holding a broom. I swept it back and forth like in cartoons, and everyone was looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing? Turns out I was just creating dust around me. You have to sweep in one direction to gather all the dust into the dustpan. Wow. That's number 2. I'm surprised Poem for Your Sprog isn't in here, taking the opportunity to be some kind of asshat. To write a poem about sweeping. You sweep a leap the jeep and sheep. When you dump it, all the creep. But when you steep the heapy leaps, don't forget to sweep. And then everybody goes, amazing, and it gives them gold. Hey, Stripes, why are you so quiet?
Yes.
What are you thinking about?
It's just the monopoly of poems.
Number
I
1. What?
I don't really say much if you're having like very short room for me to interject, and you were really lightning around it. So if I get quiet, it's because I don't feel there's room for me to interject.
Oh no, I didn't go back to the right. There it is. It's better. I was spoiled rotten child. I was a spoiled rotten child. And also into my teen years, my parents bought me a brand new red convertible for my 16th birthday. I threw a fit over it because what I actually wanted was my brother's old car that we still had, which was dark blue in color. I was so shallow and horrible a person back then. So what really turned me around? The next summer I took a job as a camp counselor at a local day camp. I did not have to work, but I was bored and sounded like something easy to do. God, I was so wrong. This camp was specifically geared to the lower class who could not afford childcare during the summer. Oh God. And they just send them there. We served them breakfast, lunch, and an afternoon snack. For a lot of the camp kids, this was all they would eat that day. And on Friday, they would beg for extra food snacks to take home for themselves and for their siblings because they may not get to eat again until Monday. This really hit me hard, but the part that got me most, this one kid around 5 or 6 would refuse to take their shoes and socks off, even if we were going to the public pool that day. I couldn't understand why until one day he came in limping. His feet were causing him so much pain. I convinced him to let me help him take his shoes and socks off so I could see what might be bothering him. Once I did, it took everything in me not to break down right there. His socks were covered in blood. His poor tiny little feet were covered in sores and his toes seemed to curl under a bit. He was in so much pain from the state of his feet, and it turns out he had been wearing shoes about 3 sizes too small. His family couldn't afford new shoes. I took him on my lunch break and went out to buy him new socks and a pair of his shoes. This broke me, which I definitely needed. It changed my way of thinking forever. Well, at least there was no kid rape in this story to let this little bitch feel like a faggot for...
I wanted my brother's car, okay? Giving me a convertible, a red convertible on my 16th birthday? You fucking listen to me! I will receive what I want! I am the best!
And then Butter Slice is all like,
Tell him to get you a sandwich, too! And I want a sandwich, Mummy!
fucking tell him to get you a sandwich too. That's what Butter Slice wants. Butter Slice got crazy priorities. A response to that reads, wow, I'm glad it changed you. I'm sure you changed that little boy's life for the better. Maybe. Or maybe they sold them new shoes on a kid's shoes black market when he got home. You put on them other shoes. You been wearing them shoes. They've been working. Ain't they been working?
I would say he'd sell his old shoes, but who'd buy shoes?
No, I'm talking about he goes home. The parents see the new shoes. The parents sell the new shoes.
And make him go back to wearing the tiny ones?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Somebody actually paged me. Someone actually paged me.
For what?
We'll see. But we need to see the context.
It's like you're a genie in a lamp and they're just rubbing.
Listen, the question being asked here, and let it be a preview for the next list if I decide to do it. The question being asked here is, who is the stranger you only saw once, but still think about sometimes? What a ridiculous list, you know? What a ridiculous and creepy list. Who is a stranger you only saw once, but still think about sometimes? Like every woman that ever had a nice rack that's ever walked by most guys, you know what I mean? Oh man, if I could get back to that girl and jiggle them titties. Sometimes I bet people even go back to places where they ran into somebody hoping to run into this girl again so they can not say anything again because they're awkward. Look.
No, there's like Greg's... Oh my god, I forgot the name of that website.
Listen.
Craigslist. There's Craigslist posts where people like encounters.
Post missed connections, yes, Stripes.
Connections.
But both of them would have to have been invested in one another but too awkward to say anything. Then both of you would also have to go onto that thing to see what each other posted if it is that person. You know what I mean? Get the fuck out of here. Who's a stranger you only saw once but still thought about sometimes? Someone paged me, so this ought to be good. I never saw her, but once I was sad and lonely, I visited Omegle. The chat was strangers bullshit. After a few disconnects and quite a few dipshits, I connected to a girl from somewhere in the US. We chatted about 3 hours and everything, and then my internet connection shut down. I connected with a person from the other side of the... Did Stripes just hang up on me? I connected to a girl from somewhere in the US. We chatted for about 3 hours and everything. And then my internet shut down. I connected with a person from the other side of the earth in a way that I have never connected with anyone before. I still think of her from time to time. I never got to say goodbye. Edit. Subscribe to Kyle the Chosen. Who the hell is this? Kyle will save us all. What the fuck? Someone just paged me, and I read this on a list. What the hell was that about? The way that you hung up made me wonder if you wrote this. And everything got like hyper confusing for me for a couple of seconds.
If I wrote what?
If you wrote the comment that I was reading.
No, like, my internet just... I was taking a picture with my phone. My internet just crashed.
You were taking a picture with your phone. I love the idea of Stripes just like, man, fuck all this. And just like doing our own thing in the middle of the list. That's great. Well.
You know me well enough. I'm not... I'm just much too invested in you to do something like that.
Dude, this guy needs sleep. You know, you know I know a lot of girls, and I used to photograph a lot of women as well, you know, and the models used to always hate their eyes and felt like they had bags under their eyes. You know what I mean? And, you know, to a certain degree, God forbid, right? It's not going to be smooth like in the Photoshop fucking images that we end up with as the final product. You need to just get over it. But Stripes, this is bad. This is insomnia bad. And I'm not even teasing. I feel kind of bad for the guy because a lot of us have insomnia, but a lot of us don't show it. And this is crazy. He's got bags, dude.
I know what you're talking about, but I should say you're not sharing screens anymore.
Well, good. I shouldn't be scrolling down fucking Twitter looking at Bing Bong Dynasty dudes living their life. Who tricked these furries into revealing himself? Somebody needs to take like a archive and cache all of this shit. You know what I'm talking about? Because when they realize they've been tricked, they're gonna, what the hell is this? Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm not.
I can't see what you're talking about.
God, it's done. I'm done.
What is it?
Special thanks to Nuisidrul. Well, I feel like I should know who this is, but I can't remember. I can't put the guy on blast by reading his comment history. I think he edited his post to tell people to subscribe to me, which is amazing.
That's sweet.
Yeah, that's the sweet part.
Wait, you made a few Reddit posts plugging your channel before.
Well, all of my top Reddit posts were a plug for the channel because they were me reading things that were on the channel. You know what I'm talking about, girl?
Well, I guess I'm more blanketed than that.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, one of the top upvoted things I ever had on this Reddit account is this turnaround Mercy clip on the Overwatch subreddit.
Got him. I remember.
Remember I made that snorting noise in there and everybody was mad about it?
Oh my god, I do.
Are you fucking kidding me?
And I told you about it before you posted it.
With that snorting noise? Ugh. This fucking guy, that noise.
Guys, this list was way longer than I intended for it to be. I don't even know what to say anymore sometimes. Love you guys.
I thought you wanted to talk about the whole advertisers pulling out thing.
I'll pull out of you.
Okay.
Google's YouTube losing major advertisers upsets with video. That's how you read, guys. That is how you read. But yeah, no, I don't think there's really anything to talk about. Yeah, people are like, advertisers are just pulling out of YouTube, and that's scary as hell. You know, what am I gonna start doing? Sending people to my Patreon or something, saying, "Hey, hit me up on PayPal or something." I don't know what to say. It's really scary because YouTube's fucking up in a capacity where the advertisers are jumping ship. And I think I told you recently, like as recent as yesterday, that H3 was saying how YouTube demonetized many of his videos.
You said all of his video when you talked to me about it.
Okay, there was an update. YouTube saying, thanks for the reports. We've identified a bug that is preventing the appeal of some demonetized videos. But that doesn't change the fact that they demonetized all of his shit. They didn't say that they reversed it. Because he said that they were demonetized and there was no option to even appeal this shit. You know? Because it's one thing for your shit to get demonetized and for them to be all like, oh, well, it can't be monetized because its content is ridiculous or insensitive or too edgy or some shit like that. But the fact that we can't demonetize, you know what I mean? It's not like we got titties shaking around. It's not like dudes are having sex. It's not like we're just saying, yeah, ISIS nigga, behead the next person you see. It's like we're making content that's entertaining. And the bottom line is, you can go all news, mainstream news, and be like, oh, I don't understand the joke, and therefore I am offended by it. But just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. You get what I'm saying? Somebody saying that Jenna Marbles also said the same thing. Dude, same. I've had a bizarre selection of videos demonetized with no notification or option to appeal. YouTube's system is beyond fucked. They treat their creators like absolute shit sometimes. Well, it's the end times. All I need is listen. You guys are listening to me right now, and I love you to death. All I want from you is to hit that like button. I'm kidding. It's for you to I need you guys, if you guys come to like find out what the new YouTube is, please let me know immediately. Do you get what I'm saying? The sooner I find out whatever the new YouTube is, the sooner I can get some bullshit on there, and the sooner I can grab all of the views from the people who are getting on that site for the first time. You know what I mean? So just keep me abreast, because I'm an old man. I don't know what's going on. Look out for that rabbit thing that I intend to do soon as well. What's it called, Stripes?
It's called Rabbit. That's it. I think there's
Rab.it?
between. I think it's rab.bit.
You know, watch stuff with your friends. Yeah. Watch it with your friends. Wow.
You ain't got no friends.
It's true. Pon that shit that she might ever eat, no. Oh my god. That's the video, guys. Love you. See you later.